Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Janat Pranams. Thank you very much for joining in for our Ramayana study session. Let's quickly start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande हम श्री गुरो श्री उतपदकमलं श्री गुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्री रूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय विषेम प्रधायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरदुषे नमः तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तडालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत् आराध्य भगवान् ब्रजेशतनया सद्धाम वृन्दावनम् रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वा कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेमा पुमर्तो महान् श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्र धरनापर अयि दीनदयाद्रनाथ हे मथुरानाथ कदावलोक्यसे हृदयं त्वदलोककातरं दैत्यभ्राम्यति किं करोम्यहम्. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, devotees. We will continue with our Ramayana study. So we are on that part of ARANYA Kand, wherein Lord Ram, Sita Devi and Lakshmana are in Chitrakoot. They met Guha, and then they met Bharadwaj Rishi, and then finally they went to Chitrakoot. Right. Meanwhile, in Ayodhya, we saw that Dashrath Maharaj. Dashrath Maharaj has left his body, and they call Bharat, who's there in his grandfather's kingdom, Kaikeyi's father kingdom. Bharat and Shatrughan are there, so they don't know any information about all of this, and so Vasishta Muni actually calls for an envoy to go to Kaikeyi, the kingdom of Kekeya, and invite Bharat and Shatrughan back to Ayodhya for some urgent matters. Right? Already we saw Bharat Maharaj is also having some kind of bad omens wherein he's able to foresee that something bad is going to happen, right? But when he comes to Ayodhya, he is not able to see Dashrath Maharaj in the palace with Kaikeyi, and he asks Kaikeyi, is Dashrath Maharaj with Kaushalya, Mother Kaushalya? So in that way, Kaikeyi tells, right? Kaikeyi is having this misunderstanding that she is doing a great favor to Bharata by actually making Bharata the king and sending Lord Ram for 14 years to the forest, right? We're discussing about how we think something is good for someone, right? But when we are in doubt and when we are acting in a way that is causing pain to a lot of people, it is better to double check twice before we do that activity, right? So although Kaikeyi thought that this was the best thing that she was doing to her own son Bharata, Bharat himself disowned Dashrath Maharaj, right? And I mean disowned Kaikeyi, saying that I can't believe that you are my mother. You used to love Ram so much, right? What made you do all these things? So like that, Bharat actually cuts off all relationship with Mother Kaikeyi, and actually goes to Kaushalya's chamber, and actually they both cry, and actually both of them again and again fall down unconscious, because they're not able to bear the sorrow that Ram is really gone to the forest, right? And Kaushalya is also able to understand that Bharat has no part in this entire episode of events that are happening, and nothing was transpired by Bharat. So like that, they decide that now we will go back to Lord Ram, who is now in the Chitrakoot, and ask Lord Ram to come back to Ayodhya and become the king of Ayodhya, right? Because that is a real dharma. It's a principle that is to be done right now. That's what is the view of Bharat, and Kaushalya. They quickly they want to check with Vasishta Muni. Right, Vasishta Muni also comes there incidentally, and Vasishta Muni was actually going to give him the information that Dashrath Maharaj passed away. Before that, only Kaikeyi broke the news, saying with a lot of enthusiasm that I did it for you, my dear son. And she herself became the recipient of Bharat's harsh words. So, on that note, let's see what is in store in this particular chapter, wherein Kaushalya and Bharat they want to go to Chitrakoot and bring Lord Ram back. Yeah, Shobha Mataji, please go ahead and read. We shall bring Rama back. Chapter number 4. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam, Mataji and Prabhuji, Jai Shri Ram, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Chapter 4. The next day, as twilight approached, Vasishta came to Bharata and said, Rise up now, O prince, and shake off this grief. The time has come to perform your father's funeral. Come quickly, O Bharata, for the ceremony is long overdue. Seeing the sage, Bharata fell prostrate at his feet, saying, So be it. After quickly bathing and changing his clothes, he went with Vasishta to the place where his father's body was lying in its tank of oil. Vasishta had Dasharatha's body brought out and laid upon a golden bier studded with numerous bright jewels. As he gazed at his father, Bharata lamented, "O great king, you always knew right from wrong. After sending Rama and Lakshmana into exile, what did you intend to do? How shall I act now, my lord? Alas, I am lost. Where have you gone? Dear father, leaving this servant of yours distressed and forlorn. Where now is that glorious Rama who performed great deeds with little exertion?" Bharata stood at his father's feet. Dashrathas lay covered with white silk and adorned with royal ornaments. Bharata cried to him piteously, "Now that you have left for the heavens, O king, who will protect the people? Deprived of you, this earth no longer appears attractive. Indeed, the city of Ayodhya looks like a dark night bereft of the moon." Vasishta came up to Bharata and said, "Gather yourself together, O prince. You should carry out the last rites for the king with a cool mind." Bharata asked the priest to proceed with the ceremony. The Brahmins brought out from the king's apartment his sacred fire, which he had maintained throughout his life. Placing the fire at their head, they carried the king to the cremation ground, their throats choked with sorrow. As the procession came its way along the road, the citizens came out of their houses and walked ahead, scattering flowers and pieces of new cloth. At the cremation ground on the bank of the Sarayu, the priest prepared a pyre with various types of fragrant woods. They placed Dashratha upon the pyre and began to chant the sacred hymns of the Samaveda. to invoke good fortune. Bharata took a flame from the king's sacrificial fire and lit the fire. The king's wives, along with the princes and priests, they accumulated the fire, their hearts burning with grief. The woman wailed piteously. Kaushalya and Sumitra fell to the ground, crying like a pair of female cranes. Although they both longed and ascended the fire and followed their husband, they longed even more to see Rama and Lakshmana return. As the fire died down, all the king's relatives went to the river bank and offered palm full of the that holy water to his departed soul. They then returned to the city and spent the following 10 days grieving, taking little food and lying upon the bare ground, their eyes filled with tears. On the 11th day, the final obsequial rites were performed, and on the 12th day, Bharata gave to the Brahmins much charity on his father's behalf. On the following day, Bharata and Shatrughna returned to the cremation ground to collect their father's ashes. Upon cremation, arriving at the funeral pyre, the two princes saw their father's remainings and they cried out in pain. Remembering again the king's various affectionate gestures towards them, they fell to the ground and rolled down. Shatrughna lamented angrily. A furious and formidable sea of grief has been unleashed by Manthara. Kaikeyi's boon or its great waves and their words, its fearful allegation. Alas, this violent ocean has swept over us all. Where, where have you gone, dear father, leaving behind poor Bharata, who is yet a tender boy? Shatrughna stood up with his arms outstretched. How strange that this earth does not split into, seeing you gone. And Rama retired to forest. We two brothers shall also go to the woods, for we cannot return to Ayodhya, rendered desolate without a father and brother. All the attendant of Bharadas and Shatrughna were distressed to see the Princess Agoni, comforting the royal brothers. The omniscient Vasishtha said, "Your father has surely ascended to the highest region of bliss. He was even pious and never committed a sin, even in his mind. You grieve needlessly, for the soul of your father is eternal and has gone to the lotus eternal abode." The two princes stood with folded hands, looking at the royal priest, putting aside their grief. They listened attentively as the sage continued. The body is always dead, being composed of nothing more than lifeless matter. It is born and remains for only a short while, with destruction being its inevitable end. Only a fool grieves for the unavoidable. The wise understand that this entire world will be destroyed along with all its living creatures. It is the soul alone that will survive. Vasishtha pointed to king's remains as he spoke. The king had achieved the perfection of life and would not take another birth. Those devoted to God's service leave this temporary world forever. For them, there is no more suffering. The princes should shed their griefs and perform their duties. Their father now sat in the highest heaven while the king stood in need of their protection. After hearing the sage's spiritual
Mataji, Dandatana.
instructions, Haribol, thank you, Dandavats.
Thank you, son. Thank you so much. Yeah. So ultimately, he was doing his duty. Right? Bharata was also not in a mood to remain in Ayodhya because the way Ayodhya is being described is the opposite of how we started the this book. Wherein the opulence of Ayodhya was clearly mentioned, how Ayodhya was full of riches and with lot of with all of the entire city was in the mode of goodness with all prosperity and riches like that. But now the entire Ayodhya is in despair because Lord Ram has left. Bharat is performing his duty of giving fire to Dashratha's body, and of course they are pained by separation from their father. At that time, Vasishta Muni is giving the same advice that what Lord Shri Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, right? Dehinosmin yata dehe Kaumaram Yauvanam Jara Tata Dehantara Praptir Dhirastatra Muyati. Right? Just like we grow from childhood to youth to old age. Similarly, when the body becomes useless, right? When the body cannot function, do its functions properly, due to having become feeble and and useless. What does the soul do? The soul takes another body. And that change is called is what we call as death. But even living, we undergo so many changes, right? So Prabhupada actually talks about in one lecture, saying, when we look at our photographs of when we are a teenager, when we are a child, etc., we realize that, we have changed so much. And sometimes you don't even remember what happened in the early past of our lives, etc. Right? So, Matha Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. If you're able to remember something, it is by the grace of the Lord. If you're not able to remember something, that is also good for us, because that is happening by the mercy of the Lord. Right? So, we need to understand every situation that we go through in this world does not happen without the sanction of the Lord. It happens with the will of the Lord, with the sanction of the Lord, and therefore it has to be for our benefit. Sometimes we see the benefit of it, sometimes we don't see the benefit of why certain things are happening to us. But in all situations, we should trust our best friend, Krishna. Right? Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvalokam Maheshwaram Suhranam Sarvabhutanam Nyatva Mam Shanti Mrichati. We can be peaceful even in this world, and we can be blissful in this world, provided we understand that every situation that we are made to undergo in this world has a sanction of the Lord and is meant for our purification. And whatever troubles we are experiencing, Krishna has reduced it to 0.00001% simply for our purification. So we need to accept all of those with a grateful heart and grow through those situations by depending on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Some situations are emotionally draining, and those circumstances we should remember. These pastimes of the Lord, where the Lord himself is going through these situations and teaching us how we should not give up dharma, even in those situations which are making us emotionally very vulnerable. Right? In those situations also, we should not give up the practice of dharma, our swadharma and our sanatana dharma. Okay. Let's move ahead. What else is, what are they doing after receiving this advice from Vasishta Muni? Who's reading? Deval Mataji, and then Karpagavali Mataji, and then Leela Nandini Mataji. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
After hearing the sage spiritual instructions.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. After hearing the sage's spiritual instructions, the brothers gained strength. They took their father's ashes and placed them in the sacred Sarayu. Along with all their attendants, they made their way back to Ayodhya. As they walked, Shatrughna spoke to Bharata. How strange it is that the mighty Ram stands exiled by the words of a woman. I cannot understand why Lakshman did not forcibly restrain the king, seeing him to be straying from the path of righteousness. Shatrughna was mystified that such an injustice could have taken place. How did Ram allow himself to be sent away, causing his father's death? What sin had that powerful and virtuous prince ever committed? Had he been present, Shatrughna would surely have intervened. Kaikeyi and her evil maid would have been checked and severely rebuked for their unforgivable behavior. As Shatrughna thought in this way, they arrived at the king's palace and saw Mantra at the gate. She was wearing costly garments and adorned with jeweled ornaments. Seeing the two princes, she gasped and shrank back. Immediately, the doorkeeper seized her and dragged her to the princess, saying, "Here is the cruel wretch responsible for the exile of our beloved lord. Do with her what you will." Shatrughna became inflamed and took hold of Mantra, pulling her into the palace. He spoke in front of the many other maid servants who were standing there. "This wicked one shall now reap the fruits of her evil deeds. She has brought acute and unbearable pain to all in this house, as well as to all the citizens of Ayodhya. Watch now as I punish her." Mantra shrieked loudly. Being held tightly by Shatrughna, all her female companions ran away in different directions, fearful that the enraged Shatrughna would also turn on them. The prince dragged Mantra violently across the floor, and her ornaments broke and scattered on the blue marble floor like so many stars in the sky. Kaikeyi heard her servant screaming and came quickly to help her. Seeing her, Shatrughna began rebuking her with the harsh words. Kaikeyi was pained by Shatrughna's sharp words and ran to Bharata for protection. Bharata moved away from his mother and spoke to the furious Shatrughna. "Even when sinful women should never be slain, you should therefore forgive this maidservant. Indeed, I would have slain my own mother if the eternal moral law did not forbid it. And it certainly such an act would never be pleasing to Ram. Our pious brother would never speak with us again if he heard that we killed this woman." Hearing Bharata's admonition, Shatrughna released Mantra and she fell almost unconscious to the floor. Kaikeyi raised her up and she wailed piteously, her clothes and her hair in disarray. Kaikeyi looked fearfully at Shatrughna and gently calmed her servant. Although Mantra had brought about a terrible calamity in Kaikeyi's life, the queen felt no anger towards her. Her son's severe reaction had made Kaikeyi thoughtful. She remembered her husband's words when she asked for the boons. He had been right. She had always loved Ram like her own son. What had possessed her so that she had desired his exile? She considered it the work of all powerful providence. Mantra could not be blamed. She was only an instrument in the hands of destiny. Thinking of Ram and feeling she had done him a great injustice, Kaikai watched in silence as Bharata and Shatrughna left. On the 14th day after the funeral, the king's counselors conferred and then spoke with Bharata. Wanting to install him as a king, they said, as your elder brother has gone to the forest along with Lakshman, there will be no sin in your superseding him and accepting the throne. Therefore, O dwell among men, be consecrated and our ruler as a ruler and protect us with justice and compassion. The councillors showed Bharata the seat and coronation paraphernalia which had been prepared for Ram's installation, exactly as Rama had done. However, Bharata walked around the seat in respect and said, I shall never accept the kingdom, passing over the pious Ram. All of you know well the rule is in our race. The kingship is always conferred upon the eldest brother. Therefore, Ram will be the ruler of this earth. Let a large and powerful army be made ready, for we shall go to the forest to bring back Ram. Bharata pointed to the paraphernalia. Taking all these items, we shall perform Ram's coronation even in the forest. You may then bring him back in honor as the king. I myself shall remain there in his place for 14 years. I shall never allow my mother to realize her wicked ambition. Bharata became enlivened as he contemplated the possibility of bringing Ram home. He felt sure that Ram could be convinced to return when he saw Bharata coming to get him with all the people of Ayodhya. He ordered that expert architects and engineers construct a road to the forest. The work should begin immediately and they would leave as soon as possible. All the Brahmin councillors applauded Bharata, saying, very good, it shall be done. They blessed Bharata and he left delighted in mind. His face lit up with joy and tears flowed from his eyes. Thinking of Ram and his imminent return, everyone found their grief dispelled. Thousands of skilled men were employed in the task of building the road, absorbed in thoughts of Ram. They worked swiftly, leveling the land to lay out a broad road paved with great slabs of red stone. The work was carried out as quickly as possible. Wells were dug and large ponds excavated. Trees were planted along the edge of the road to provide shade, and fragrant gardens were laid out at intervals. The great highway was decorated with festoons and sprinkled with scented water mixed with sandalwood paste. Along the way, tent encampments enclosed by wide moats were erected for the army. Temples were constructed and images of Vishnu and the gods were installed and worshipped. In some places, wealthy men and had mansions built and villages grew up around those houses. The road extended from Ayodhya all the way to the Ganges. Strewn with various forest flowers, it appeared like a pathway made by the gods and leading to heavens. Within less than a month, the road was complete. Bharata summoned Sumantra and ordered him to have the army prepared to leave. In great eagerness, the army chiefs prepared everything for the journey to the forest. Mounting upon his own golden car, drawn by 6 pairs of horses, Bharata set out from the city. He was followed by 9,000 elephants, 60,000 chariots, and 100,000 infantry. All the royal councillors and priests accompanied him, as well as Dashratha's 3 wives. The procession from Ayodhya consisted of thousands of citizens of all classes. It made its way slowly towards the forest. Merchants set out shops, and artisans and craftsmen, all of kinds, piled their trade along the road. Thousands of Brahmins, their minds absorbed in meditation, followed the procession on bullock carts, uttering benedictions and prayers. After some days, Bharata arrived near Sringavera, where Rama's friend Guha lived. Halting, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Sorry, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. So we see here, Kaikeyi is now repenting, right? After having done everything that Mantra told, and she herself is repenting. How did I do it? Right? So that's why Kamastasya Hritajnana Prapadyade Anya Devataha. Right? What is that verse? No. Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. Right? It is only because of lust, right? Whenever we want something for our sense gratification to be fulfilled, then our intelligence or our Viveka Buddhi, it closes down. And then we are so much wanting that thing to happen that we cannot see any proper advice given to us. Right? So that is the reason whenever we desperately want something, we need to slow down. We need to check with our seniors whether this is really what we want to do. So now it's too late. Kaikeyi is thinking, oh my God. And then what is she saying? It is the will of providence. Yes, of course. Because to become the mother of Lord Ram, right? To become the wife of Dashratha, to be born in the family, which is so closely associated with Lord Ram, That in itself is a great fortune, right? And from this, the important lesson that we learn is, although we may be practicing devotional service, may be in close connection with devotees, one small thing can destroy everything for us, right? Kaikeyi was thinking, I loved Ram even more than Bharat, right? But one small mistake, because of giving an ear to mantra and getting influenced by her thoughts, what happened? Kaikeyi lost everything. She lost her husband, she lost her son, whom she thought would be very greatly pleased with this, right? So in that way, we will lose everything, if we are just giving into our sense gratification and blindly doing whatever the mind is telling us, right? So whatever mantra told Kaikeyi, it influenced her mind, and she continued to become the servant of her mind, doing whatever her mind told her, right? So we have to be our servants. Our constitutional position is that we are servants, so we should be very careful whose service we are doing, right? Prabhupada tells in a lecture that our constitutional position is that we are servants. We can either choose to serve Krishna, or we can choose to serve Maya, right? If we are choosing to pursue our sense gratification, come what may, then we are actually serving Maya, because we are trying to obtain objects for sense gratification, and that will in all cases lead to frustration in life. It can never lead to peace of mind, right? Peace of mind is only when bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suradam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shanti mrichati. When we understand that the Lord is the proprietor of everything, the Lord is the controller of everything, the Lord is the most benevolent well-wisher of everything, and everything happens by the mercy of the Lord, right? Everything is owned by the Lord. And whatever I am having right now is I've been put in charge of these things, whether it is a laptop or the mobile or the speaker or the house or the whatever things which are under possession. It is under our care for the time being, right? And then we should try to utilize it. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagam Uchyate. We should practice Yukta Vairagya at all stages, knowing well that these have been entrusted to me at this time for being engaged in the service of the Lord. It may be taken away at any time. So as long as I possess it, let me utilize it in the service of the Lord. Right? If that is our consciousness, will not get attached to things so much so that, oh, I want more of it, I want more of it. Right? Only when we think this is mine, then, oh, why only little for me? I want to get more. But when we know that the Lord is the provider of everything, and whatever I have is been entrusted to me by the Lord according to what I deserve. Right? And sometimes we get more than what we deserve also, with the causeless mercy of the Lord. So with gratitude, we receive whatever the Lord gives us and utilize it in the service of the Lord. That is the right expression of gratitude. Utilizing everything in the service of the Lord. That is the mood of being grateful for what we have received and utilizing it with the right purpose. All right, let's move ahead. Karpagali Mataji, go ahead. After some days. So now
Hare
they are
Krishna,
all going to Chitrakoot to bring back Lord Ram. It's very interesting. Kaikeyi is also now has had a change of heart. She understood that there was a mistake done, although she thought it was because of providence, and whatever be the reason, she's also joining Kaushalya and Sumitra as they go to the forest to bring back Lord Ram. Yeah, but some damage when caused becomes very difficult to rectify and to bring it back. That's why you need to be very careful. Right? Words uttered and things done can never be reversed. Right? Like that. All right, go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandatna Mataji. Yes, Sri Ram. After some days, Bharata arrived near Singaravera, where Rama's friend Guha lived. Halting on the bank of the Ganges, the prince set up camp. Bharata descended from his chariot along with Shatrughna and went down to the river bank, where he lay down in the prostrated obeisance. Along with his brother and Dasrata's wife, he offered Ganges water to the king's departed soul. The Guha had been Bharata's approach and said to his counselors, "This huge army appears like a siege without any show. I see in the distance a towering banner bearing the emblem of Bharata. Surely he has come here wishing harm to Rama." Guha thought that Bharata intended to kill Rama in order to establish his unchallenged right to the kingdom. Seeing the tremendous number of people accompanying Bharata, he felt fearful. "I think this prince will either bind us with chains or kill us, finding us entirely devoted to Rama." Guha continued. Have Armin. Mataji, scroll up, Mataji. Have Armin stand ready with weapons and clothed in mail. The boats should each be filled with 100 warriors and should meet on the other side of the river. Rama is our Lord and Master, and we should do whatever is is in our power to assist him. Guha decided to go personally to Bharata and discover his purpose. Taking various sweetmeats and fruits as an offering, he went with his chief ministers towards the prince's tent. As he approached nearby, Samantra saw him and informed Bharata, "Here comes the Nishada king, Guha, accompanied by 1,000 of his men. He is Rama's friend and he knows well everything about the forest. O noble prince, you should allow him to see you, for he will surely know Rama's whereabouts." Bharata immediately gave orders that Guha be shown into his tent. And he came before Bharata and humbly bowed down, saying, "This kingdom is yours, O prince. As Rama's friend, you are my friend, and indeed my lord. Be pleased to accept these foodstuffs, and please also stay in my house. Allow me men to entertain your army tonight and tomorrow, and you may leave refreshed to accomplish your purpose." Bharata could understand Guha's meant. He was pleased by his reception and by his devotion to Rama. He spoke gently to the Nishada ruler. "It is a pleasure to meet you, dear friend of my brother. We are satisfied by your kind hospitality." Guha was apprehensive. He looked down as he replied to Bharata.
Bharata pointed across the Ganges. I heard Rama went that way, O king, towards Bharatwaja's hermitage.
Bharata pointed across Ganges. "I heard Rama went away that way, O king, toward Bharatwaja's hermitage. I wish road to be proceed in order to find him, O king. Should we across this river or go along its bank?" Guha was apprehensive. Sure. Guha was apprehensive. He looked down as he replied to Bharata. "Seeing a vast army, my mind was filled with fear. I trust that you wish no harm to Rama. If that is the case, then my ferryman can take you across the river and show you the way." Bharata assured Guha, May the time never come when any wickedness toward Rama enters my heart. Do not have any doubts about me, O Guha. I am here to bring back Rama to Ayodhya. My glorious brother is as good as my father, and as I long to see him again, pray point out his whereabouts to me, and I shall go and press his feet to my head. Tears sprang to Guha's eyes as he replied, "There can be none equal to you on this globe, who dwell among men. Who else could renounce the rulership of this world? Surely your name will be everlasting. Rest now for the night, and tomorrow I shall make all arrangements." Guha took leave from Bharata and the thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we see here, very wonderful, that even Bharata, right? Of course, Bharat never ever wanted to rule the kingdom. And even when Kaikeyi was expressing to Bharata with such great enthusiasm that, I have done all this for you, you will now become the king. Right? Bharata was only getting more and more angry. Now we all remember the path which Lord Ram took, right? He went through the Guha's Nishada, right? Where Guha actually washed the lotus feet of Lord Ram and helped Lord Ram, ferry Lord Ram to the other side, right? And Lord Ram reached Chitrakoot. So in that way, now Guha was trying to do his seva, but he wanted to make sure that Bharata was indeed wanting to help Lord Ram, and he was not the enemy of Lord Ram. So everybody is trying their best to serve Lord Ram, right? That's what we are seeing here, right? And in Lord Ram's pastimes, you always see that, whether it is a squirrel, whether it is Hanumanji, whether it is whoever are participants of this Ramayana, this Leela, we see that everybody is trying to serve Lord Ram according to their capacity. So this is a lesson that we can learn, that we need not be as strong as Hanuman. Only then we can render service to Lord Ram. No, whatever be, even if we have squirrel-like capacity, we should utilize that capacity in serving the Lord, and then the Lord by his own mercy will empower us so that we can perform more and more services. So as a jiva, what we desire, that is only control we have, right? Because our body is also made up of bhumi, rapo, nalo, vayu, kam, mano, buddhi, revacha. Our gross body, our subtle body, everything have been given to us by the Lord. They are all made out of those elements which are also created by the Lord. But what is it that we can call our own? There is only one thing that we can call our own, which the Lord also does not interfere with. And what is that? That is our free will. That is our desire. So if we dovetail that in the service of the Lord, if we have that only desire, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, कवितां जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् bhaktir ahituki tvai. Right? If our desire is only to render causeless devotional service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, life after life, and Krishna will empower us with all the resources that is required, with all the skills that are required, with all the paraphernalia that we were required to render service to the Lord. Because ultimately, the Lord is the provider of everything. What we can call as our own is only our desire to serve the Lord. And hence, we should always keep that desire intact and we should not have any other desire other than to serve, satisfy, and please Guru and Gauranga. Okay, let's move ahead. Who's reading now? I saw somebody's hand up here. Yeah, Leela Nandini Mataji. Yes, go ahead. Guha
Yeah,
took his
Hare
leave.
Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Dandat
Dandat
Pranam.
Pranam. Guha took his leave from Bharata, and the prince laid down to sleep, thinking of Rama. He was seized with sorrow. Perhaps he would not be able to find him. Many months had passed since Rama had left. Who knows where he might be now? Bharata was unable to sleep. He was oppressed with an agony which weighed upon him like a heap of rocks. Heaving sighs, Bharata tossed around, immersed in thoughts of Rama. Gradually, the dawn approached, and as the sun rose, Guha returned. The forest king spoke again to Bharata. He described how Rama had spent a night there, and then, after mating his hair, had left for the deep forest with Lakshman and Sita. Guha indicated the way they had gone. Hearing now, Rama had mated his hair. Bharata became apprehensive. Surely Rama would not now return. His resolve to remain as an ascetic for 14 years must be firm. Seized with such thoughts, Bharata all of a sudden fell to the ground, saddened at heart. Shatrughna raised his brother, who sat shedding tears. Kaushalya and Sumitra quickly approached him and spoke comforting words. Bharata recovered his composure and said to Guha, "Tell me everything about Rama. What foods did he eat? Foods did he eat? Where did he sleep? What did he say?" Guha told Bharata now how he had offered Rama many excellent cooked foods, but Rama had refused them, saying it is never the duty of rulers to accept charity. Indeed, we should always give charity to others. Guha explained how Rama had drunk only water and then had slept upon a bed of grass laid out by Lakshman. Bharata asked to be shown the place where Rama had slept, and Guha took him to the foot of the tree where the bed still lay. Seeing it, Bharata loudly exclaimed, "Alas, how could it be that one such as Rama would lay down on a bed of grass? He was ever accustomed to sleep at the top of high places in rooms with golden floors spread with the finest rugs. Having always been awakened by the sweet strains of music and song, how is he now roused by the roar of wild beasts?" Bharata lamented at length as the reality of Rama's exile and ascetic life struck him. The injustice was insufferable to Bharata, and it was made even more excruciating by the thought that he was the cause. His voice was filled with pain. "This is truly incredible. It cannot be real. Surely I am dreaming. See here the strands of gold left by Sita where he lay on these grasses. Her delicate limbs pressed to the hard ground. I am ruined indeed, for it is on my account that all this has happened." Images of Rama and Sita dressed in forest attire, emaciated due to eating only fruits and roots, filled Bharata's mind. Beating his head, he cried out, "From this day I shall wear matted locks and trees bark. I shall lay upon the bare earth to sleep and shall eat only simple forest fare." Bharata became even more determined to find Rama and bring him back to Ayodhya, staying himself in the forest in Rama's place, after spending another night sleeping on the spot where Rama had lain. Bharata had the army prepared to leave. Guha brought 500 large boats equipped with oarsmen and sails. He offered his own personal boat to Bharata and his relative. Some boats were filled with women, some with horses, and others with chariots. As the boats plied across the river, the elephants swam with the flags on their backs, waving in the breeze. Many of the soldiers also swam while their equipment was carried in the boats. Late in the afternoon, the whole party assembled again on the other side of the river. Ordering them to camp at that spot, Bharata went with Vashishta and other Brahmins to look for Bharadwaja's hermitage. Out of deference to the great sage Bharadwaja, whose only wealth was asceticism, Bharata approached him wearing only simple cloth, leaving his armor and weapons behind. With Vashishta at their head, the prince and his counselors went on foot and soon arrived at the sage's hermitage. As soon as he saw them at his door, the sage hurriedly rose and had his disciples fetch water to wash their feet. He embraced Vashishta and offered blessings to Bharata, who had fallen prostrate at his feet. Bharadwaja gazed
Correct.
at
Mataji,
Bharata. Thank you, Mataji.
Haribol.
Thank you, Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we will continue this wonderful pastime. Tomorrow's Friday, right? So you'll see what is the kind of interaction that Vasishta Muni, Bharadwaj Rishi, and Bharat Maharaj, right? What are their discussions and what are their plan of action? How to meet Lord Ram? How is Bharadwaj Muni guiding them? And all of that we will read tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Please to join us at 11 o'clock Indian Standard Time tomorrow. So we will quickly do 2 minutes Harinam Sankirtan and then we will end our session. We request devotees switch on your cameras. It will be nice to have darshan of all of you. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sitaram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jaya Baladev, Jaya Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jaya Sudarshan, Jaya Bala Gopal, Jaya Bala Gopal, Jaya Prahlad Narsingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narsingha, Jaya Rukmini Vitthal, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Ras Bihari Shri Radhe He Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Radha Sham Sundar Shri Radhe Jaya Shadgo Swami Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण भरत शत्रुघ्न हनुमान जी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवावृंद की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच। अर्चना श्री राधा माता जी, सर्वगोपी श्री माता जी, कर्पगवली माता जी, हरजीत माता जी, राजेश्वरी राजीव माता जी, Shobha Mataji and Leelanandini Mataji and all the devotees. Rajneesh Prabhu, thank you for joining in and switching on your cameras. Archana Mataji, and thank you to all the devotees who are not switching on your cameras also. Thank you for joining in. Vanchakalpatrobhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we'll meet tomorrow morning 4:30 a.m. as we continue with our Brahma Murta chanting. Starting with our Shikshashtakam prayers and offenses to be avoided, and then meet at 11 o'clock sharp to see what kind of guidance Bharadwaj Muni is giving Bharat to find Lord Ram. Thank you very much.